this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 63 of the So Free Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one is going to be another random topic where little Dennis will put a topic out the bag and I'll have 15 minutes to talk about it. I'm not allowed to do any editing or change the topic. I'm still getting over my little cold that I had, so I've still got a bit of a sore throat. But this one's going to be a random topic. But before we jump into it, a couple of little things. You can find the podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. And I've just picked up a couple of books, which are art books by the artist Loish, which I used to call her Losh. I thought her name was Losh, Loish, and she does female characters. Really is the main thing. I love her art, and I saw one of her pieces of art in a character design quarterly magazine, and then somebody on the YouTube said that her name is actually Loish, and then it put her back in my awareness. So I went and bought her books because I really want to study her art. So I'm going to be reviewing those in a minute after the podcast. So you can find that at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. There's a couple of little things I was going to talk about before we get into the topic. One of them is I had this incredible lucid dream on Saturday, which I'd really like to talk about, but I think it would just take too long. I think it would take I could just talk about it for an hour or something. In this lucid dream, I'm pretty much sure I had it. It was an out-of-body experience where I went to another universe, and I had this person talking to me via his mind. And at the end of it, I became a ghost. But there was this one bit where I was in. Did you hear that? There's this weird noise that you make sometimes where it's like a burp inside. So instead of burping, it's like you burp inside your throat. I've noticed other people do that. That's what that noise was. But in this lucid dream, I was out in space, and there was this ring of fire in the distance, and I wanted to go over to it, but I couldn't move, I couldn't get over there. So I started trying to swim through the air, and I suddenly realised that if I put my thought into the space, I could sort of teleport into the space. So I slowly teleported myself towards this thing, and then, it was crazy. I'm going to have to do a separate video about it because it was just amazing, and I've wrote it all down in my dream diary. So what I was thinking was, on my YouTube, going through my dream diary and making a video about each of my lucid dreams, which I think will be really fun. And it will also be fun to remember my older lucid dreams, because you do forget about them, but when you start reading them, it triggers them and you sort of remember them again. And I think thinking about lucid dreams will also improve the chances of having more lucid dreams. So that's something I'm going to be doing in the future. And there's one other thing, there's something that I thought about during the week. I might have to have some water on this episode as well, sorry. But I was watching this video, and on this video, these scientists were looking into, I don't know what they were doing, they were looking into something to do with colours. And what they did was they had this little chart, which had a load of squares in a clock, like a circle. So it was little squares where each of the numbers would be on a clock, and one was blue, one was green, one was blue, one was green, all the way around. And what they did was, there's these ancient, there's ancient tribe or something who haven't got a word for the colour blue. So what they did was they showed them this chart, and this tribe could not see the colour blue, which is really weird. I'm going to have to find it, and I'll put it in the show notes at sophielawson.com. So what they proved was, they proved it with something else as well, because this same tribe, actually I think they couldn't see green. But this same tribe, no, they couldn't see blue, but they could see green, and they had loads of different words to describe green. In other words, like different shades of green were different colours. So whereas we would think it's a light green and a dark green, to them that was two separate colours. So what they did was, and this is amazing, they put another chart up. I got hell of a sore throat today. They put another chart up, but this one had a light. Well, what it had all of the squares were the same colour green, apart from one of them, which was a tiny bit different. And they showed this to the tribe, and the tribe was able to point out the one that was slightly different colour, because they had a much better understanding of the colour green. Like, they had different words for each of the greens, whereas they showed it to everyone else who's like English speaking people or Western people who have only got one colour for green. And this is on there's a YouTube video where you can see this, that you can't see the other green. Your eyes can't see the other green until the person points it out. It's really weird. And then what he's proving is that if you haven't got a word for something, it basically doesn't exist. Which sounds crazy, but so because at first I was like, I can't get my head around this. And he was basically saying how like say for instance the word fear, guilt, stuff like that, if we didn't have the word guilt, he was asking the question, would we actually be able to feel guilt? Because the same tribe, they didn't have words for certain things, like I can't remember what it was. There was a negative thought or a negative feeling that they didn't have a word for. So they said, well, what do you feel when you feel this word? It's sort of weird. You're going to have to watch the video. It will mess with your head, and I couldn't get my head around it until I was walking home, and I suddenly thought to myself, this is just like negative shapes on drawings. So when you're drawing, or not even when you're drawing, if you're looking at the world, like for instance my hand, when you start studying how to draw, one of the things they teach you is about these negative shapes, which is like the space between your fingers. So if you put your hand out, your fingers make like a V shape between the fingers, but if you're only looking at your hand, you're only going to see your fingers. Whereas when you look, if you're looking for the negative shapes, you can actually see the V. That's not really the best example. I would say the best example would be something like a figure, a statue. So like if you've got a statue or something, there's shapes between the things. But I started thinking to myself, because as you start studying that, as I said on one of the podcasts a few weeks ago, they start jumping out at you. They almost become their own separate shapes, whereas before you don't see it. And I was thinking to myself, that's kind of the same thing. You can't see it until you know what you're supposed to be looking for. And I thought that was quite amazing. But this little video thing with the colours, it's one of the most, like, it's amazing, because it's real, because they've proven it's real. So it'll mess with your head, and I'm going to put a link into that in the show notes. I just wanted to talk about that. I didn't realise I was going to talk that long about it. I want to talk about my lucid dream. Anyway, Dennis is going to put his head in this bag and he'll pull out a topic. And I was thinking about something. On these podcasts, Dennis pulls out random topics, and what I do is I put the topic title as the thing that he's pulled out. But I started thinking, what if I change the topic to be random? So in other words, it will say episode 64, random topic 10, because then you won't know what the topic is until Dennis has pulled out the topic. So I think it'll be quite a little bit more exciting, but I don't know whether I'm going to do that. I was just thinking about it. This is what this week's topic is. Read one of your blog posts, Digital Dream. It's another blog post. Naughty Dennis. I said not to have another blog post topic. So this is, go to my website, sophiedawson.com/art/blog, and I shall go over to the digital dream. Oh, what were the digital dreams? Oh no, I don't like to do that. Not allowed to do that. This is something else, actually. When I was younger, I always used to do this, used to talk like this and stuff, you know. Isn't it? Talk like this and things. Maybe that is where the things comes from. This is a podcast about the art and things, you know. Art and things. But you're not even allowed to do that anymore. Like, why aren't you allowed to talk like Indians and stuff? Because you're not being horrible or nothing. You're just doing an accent. That noise is the fridge. It's really annoying, but I can't seem to do anything about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read week 12 of the Digital Dream. So this is a little podcast about the Digital Dream. I've lost my thing. Dong! Episode 63. 15 minutes to talk about poop. I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to talk about this. Shall I go and break the rules? Shall I break the rules? Shall I break the rules? Shall I break the rules? No. They think it's all over. It is now. That's how I started this blog post. The reason I don't like doing this is because on the video I'm looking at the screen, which is a bit silly. So what am I going to do? Am I going to do this or not? I don't want to do this. No, I'm not going to do it. Dun dun dun! I have decided to change this week's topic because Dennis pulled out a topic that I said not to pull out. And I know that's not quite being spontaneous, but I just don't really want to talk about something on the blog post again. So I'm going to pull out another topic, and little Dennis is going to sit in his little bowl because he's been naughty. So this week's random topic, part 2, is going to be, and if I pull out another topic to do with reading something off the website, I'm going to put that one back in as well. So this week's topic is actually going to be, that's funny. This week's random topic is, if I turn the light off on there you can see what it is. It is talk about change. That's quite funny. 15 minutes to talk about change. This is funny because what did I do? I just changed the topic. I love how things happen sometimes. The thing with change, okay, you could go anywhere with that. Change is the only thing that we know for certain. Where do I want to go with this? You could go with how change is the only thing that's, is for certain. You could talk about how when you're changing, everything else has to change, and some of it doesn't want to change, so it tries to stop you changing. You could go down there. We could talk about drawing and painting, how you're constantly changing. Actually, I'm going to do that. With drawing and painting, you're constantly changing, which is just like the universe. The universe is constantly changing. This is why sometimes I do wonder whether the universe, I do wonder whether we are inside of like a painting. I know that sounds mad, but like with a painting, it's like we could all be little spots of, or little, each colour in a painting could be a separate person or something, because it's all linked together, and if one bit changes, everything else changes. Even something on the other side of the painting changes. So I do feel like art is a really good sort of representation of life, because everything's changing. So with a drawing, this is quite funny. Well, not funny, but it's interesting. I said this to my life drawing teacher the other week. sometimes you'll look at a drawing and you'll look at like the face and you'll look at the nose and you'll think that nose isn't right. So you'll spend hours, sometimes hours, trying to change that nose, rubbing it out, changing it slightly, and you're constantly looking, thinking, that nose isn't right. And then what happens is, you leave it, you come back a few hours later or something, you look at the drawing and you realise it's not the nose, it's the eye. So what it is the nose is fine, the eye is wrong, but because the eye is wrong, it's somehow making you think the nose is wrong, which is weird. So what you have to do, you change the eye, you change the nose. They're both linked together. It's just like that in life. What else could you do? Well, yeah, like when you change yourself, this is something I've noticed. This is really good. My Reiki healer earlier today, she said something whereby, because what happened was we were talking about stuff, and like she was saying, she was opening up to me as much as I was with her, and she was saying, like, most people can't talk about stuff like this because most people are just focused on everyday things, which I don't think is that important. So what happened was, she said, because I explained to her, I once started telling somebody about a lucid dream that I had, and like because when you have a really powerful lucid dream or something, or a powerful meditation, you just want to tell everybody. I don't know why, but you just want to share it because it's just so amazing sometimes that you can't keep it in. But what you do is you tell people, and you realise that most people they're not interested, and not only are they not interested, they just think you're, I don't know if they think you're making it up, or if you're stupid, crazy, weird, like stuff like that. But it's because they haven't experienced it, and they probably don't believe it's real. But you know that you want to tell them, because if everybody starts doing it, they can feel the same thing, and you just want everyone to feel it. But some people just aren't interested. So I was telling her how, like, I was telling somebody about my dream, and I would, every so often I'd tell them about my dream and stuff. And then one day I started telling them about my dream, and this person just they rolled their eyes as if to say, oh, here we go again. And it was in that moment I realised I basically shouldn't really, I don't know if the word is shouldn't, but I just realised that there's no point telling this person just isn't interested. So I said to my Reiki healer, like, in that moment, I just sort of thought, well, there's no point saying anything. But she said, because I said, she said and I said, we both said, I said, I want to tell them about it so they can experience it for themselves, because you know how powerful it is. So I said, so there's part of me that doesn't think there's no point, there's part of me that thinks there's no point telling her about it. There's this other part that thinks I should keep telling her. But what she said was, you've put the seed out there now, so that person who is like raising their eyes, you've just put a seed there, and it's basically you're gonna have to wait for them to catch up, I suppose, with, let the seeds grow, really. But this comes into change because you're planting little seeds and it's those little seeds that will grow and change. So it's quite amazing. Everything is linked. Everything you're doing is linked to everything else. So what I was going to say was, when I'm changing, as I've been changing myself, everyone else has had to be changing as well. But there are people who don't want to change. And the people who don't want to change, they try to stop you changing. So that's when you just have to, like what I said, you have to just sort of say, there's no point me even trying here, and you move on. But you move on having planted a little seed, and then hopefully that seed grows. They might come back, because you're not walking away forever, you're just walking away until, like, because the thing is, I think it's all about open mind. Like, I have an open mind for everything, really. There's nothing really that I don't have an open mind to. So if somebody started talking to me about something that I had no interest in, actually that's not true. That's not true, because if somebody was talking to me about a TV show or something, part of me is like, yeah, it's weird. Actually, it's weird. Yeah, it is weird, because if somebody was talking to me about the news, which I have zero interest in, I probably would raise my eyes to that. So yeah, maybe it is just okay for everyone not to be interested. But the thing is, all you got to do is find the people who are interested and connect with that. But yeah, it's interesting. Is there anything else to do with change? This topic is kind of weird. Change. Yeah, change is scary, but change is everything. It's quite funny, that. Dennis. I wonder what Dennis would think about all of this. Dennis the Menace, into the bowl. I think I'm going mad. I'm going crazy. Dennis has got the bowl on his head. That's quite good. Dennis has changed into a singing bowl. Actually, I've never looked at the bottom of that before. Looks quite nice. This is hell of a heavy. You could probably kill somebody with this singing bowl. That's it. I don't think I've got anything else to say about change. I've got lots to say, but I can't think of anything. So instead, I'm going to have a minute's silence. That's funny. I've got 6 minutes to talk about change, and I've got nothing to talk about. So what do? Change. I've got some change in my wallet. No, that's not good. This is a weird podcast. This is a very weird podcast. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Maybe I leave it there. Can't think of anything. Actually gone completely silent in my head. I'll tell you what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to light some matches. That's like change, isn't it? When you light a match, it's changing from being a wood to being ash. And that's inevitable, you can't stop that. You can blow it out, but even if you blow it out, the match has still changed. It's gone out on its own. The match has now changed into a piece of charcoal. Could you use that to do drawing? I wonder if you can use matches to do drawings. That'd be quite good. No. I wonder if you can. Yeah, you can. Look, you can do a drawing with the matches. That would be quite amazing. Make a whole drawing with matches. I wonder what that would look like. Because it's a different shade of... This charcoal is more of like a brownie. It's more like a brownie black. That's quite nice. So that match has changed from a match to a piece of a drawing instrument. And that's what it's all about, is nothing is what it seems. Like, would you ever think that match was a drawing instrument? It looks like a pencil. I wonder if you could eat it. Because if you could eat it, it would change into food. Yeah, I'm officially going a bit weird on this one. But that's what this is. I like matches. I'm going to light another one. What I like about matches is the sound of them. I even like that little scratchy bit. That scratchy bit. Scratchy bit sounds good. But when you light a match, it's like so much energy goes into that one little bit. And then it just can hear it hissing. I've never heard a match hiss before like that. That really is what change is all about, isn't it? A match. It's amazing. It's quite amazing, matches. What we got? Got 2.5 minutes. Shall I light matches for 2.5 minutes? Oh, that looks good on the camera as well. Every time you light a match, it like explodes on the camera. Shall I set fire to Dennis? Shall I set fire to Dennis? Naughty Dennis for selecting topics that I don't want to talk about. Shall I just... No, I'm not going to set fire to Dennis. That's not very nice. That's not very nice at all. I've got a candle here. Again, the candle represents change. Because it goes from being a solid object to being a liquid to being a gas to being nothing. Bloody hell, a candle goes from being a solid object to nothing right before your eyes like magic. Because if you took away time, that candle wouldn't exist. It would exist and it wouldn't. That's crazy, that is. It smells nice. It smells like vanilla. It smells very nice. That's funny. I like candles. The reason I got this candle is somebody said to meditate on a candle at night time. So when it's all dark, light a candle and just stare at it. Do nothing but stare at it. So it's supposed to like bring about some experiences and stuff. But I tried it at the weekend and I sat there, started looking at it, and I got scared because I felt like, I don't know, I was really aware of the darkness. I've never really been aware of the darkness before, because normally when it's dark, I'm asleep. But I got really hit by fear, and I ended up blowing the candle out and putting the lights on. But I'm going to try it again, because I think next time I'm going to try and sit with that fear. I think it might be quite interesting. But it was really quite scary. The darkness was quite scary. The darkness, you could put that in with change as well. Because you put the light on, you can see... Stop, carry on. Well, that was a little podcast about change. Very, very weird episode today. It's just because I think what happened was I didn't want to talk about that topic, and then my head went to weird... I think what happened was I honestly couldn't really be bothered to talk about a topic this week. But I still did. So that's it. Even when I can't be bothered, I can still do it. And I think the reason I can't be bothered is because I've got quite a few things to do at the minute. But I still showed up, which is important. I'm going to leave that candle there, because imagine if that candle accidentally set fire to Dennis. Well, that was this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll tell you what I like doing. Setting fire to matches together. Look at that, look. If you're watching the video, you can see lots of fire. I used to be an arsonist as a child. That was during my naughty days. I used to be like Dennis, naughty. When I was younger, I used to set fire to anything I could get my hands on. It's quite bad, really. I do wonder why that happened. There must have been a reason for it. I should do a podcast about my childhood, because it's amazing how... Actually, I don't think 15 minutes. As a child, this is amazing. As a child, I was incredibly naughty. To be honest, I was a little shit. But I've changed, and I feel like I'm the complete opposite. I feel like I'm a nice person now. I was still a nice person as a child, it's just I was naughty. I'd love to know why I was so naughty, because that's weird. Because like some of the naughty things I did as a child, God blimey, maybe that's why I've had a lot of suffering in the life, because I was so naughty as a child. All comes around. That is this week's podcast, all about change. I'm going to go and record these videos now, looking at these 2 art books. I'm really excited about this and hope you enjoy it. You can find video for this podcast at sophielawson.com/YouTube or youtube.com/sophielawson, and you can find show notes at sophielawson.com. That's basically it. This week's inspirational quote goes to my Reiki healer. This is a really good quote actually for what's just happening. So with fire, like how I said how like that candle is there and it's not, it disappears. It's energy that is, everything is energy, basically. That's this week's quote. Rachel Rendell, she said to me how everything is energy, including thoughts. This is why you can change them. She said something really important to me today. She said, you are not, well, she said, because she said to me, we are not our feelings. Because I was talking about how I was struggling the other week with like my negative thoughts and stuff, and she's basically said it's all to do with feelings. You are not your feelings. And then she started saying how everything is energy, and I said like, because I could go on for ages here. I was talking about how like, I said to her that I think thoughts are coming off of people and we're picking them up. And then as we did the Reiki session, I was thinking about it and I thought, hang on a minute, what she said explains it. If everything is energy, thoughts are energy, which means that's how it works. Our thoughts are coming off of us as energy, interacting with us as energy, so we're picking up that energy. A lot of the things I've been thinking about but not able to understand, I'm starting to understand them if you think about everything being energy. That's basically it though. This week's inspirational quote goes to Rachel Rendell, and it is, everything is energy. Rachel Rendell.
Do you like my bum? Doesn't my bum look big in this?